Freedom. It's a word we throw around carelessly. But real freedom, not leisure, not comfort, is something few people ever taste. You cannot buy it. You cannot wish for it. You cannot fake your way into it. Freedom is earned, and the currency is discipline. Every time you take control of yourself, every time you master your impulses, you move one step closer to being free. People think freedom means doing whatever they want, but that's not freedom. That's slavery to every desire, every distraction, every emotion. The man who does whatever he feels like is not free. He's trapped by feelings. He's ruled by appetites. He's owned by comfort. Real freedom begins when you deny comfort, when you deny the easy path, when you set rules for yourself and follow them relentlessly. That alarm clock you don't want to obey? Answer it. That workout you dread? Do it. That hard conversation you keep avoiding? Have it. Because every act of self-discipline is a declaration of independence. Without discipline, your life belongs to everyone and everything but you. You belong to distractions, to temptations, to other people's demands. You're chained to weakness. But when you impose discipline on yourself, you break those chains. The cost of freedom is discipline. That is the trade you must make. You cannot have both an undisciplined life and a free life. You must choose. It's a daily battle, a quiet battle, a private war that no one applauds you for winning. But those victories matter. When you say no to laziness, you say yes to freedom. When you say no to indulgence, you say yes to power. When you say no to chaos, you say yes to clarity. Most people will never understand this. They confuse ease with freedom. They think freedom is the absence of responsibility, but the absence of responsibility leads straight to weakness. If you want to own your time, if you want to own your mind, if you want to own your life, discipline is the cost. And that cost must be paid every day. Freedom is not won once. It's maintained through action, through control, through habits that build resilience. Look at your day. Ask yourself honestly, what owns me today? What distractions have a claim on me? Where am I allowing weakness to take the wheel? Freedom starts when you admit those answers. It grows when you build habits that cut those ties. You will lose friends who don't understand. You will seem cold to those who cling to comfort. You will feel lonely at times. But that's part of the cost. And you will discover something rare. Freedom feels heavy at first, because responsibility is heavy. But as you grow stronger, you'll carry that weight with pride. And one day you'll realize, discipline is not a prison. It's the path to your release. The world will still try to pull you back. It will tempt you with comfort, with entertainment, with shortcuts. But you will know better. You will remember that every freedom you have was bought with self-control. The undisciplined man is owned by the world. The disciplined man owns himself. This is the deal. Freedom costs discipline. Discipline delivers freedom. There is no other way. So ask yourself right now, where do you want your freedom to show up? Do you want financial freedom? Then discipline your spending, your saving, your earning. Do you want mental freedom? Then discipline your thoughts, your focus, your habits. Do you want freedom from regret? Then discipline your actions today so tomorrow thanks you. Every area of your life is a battlefield, and discipline is your shield. Discipline is your sword. Without it, you are exposed. Without it, you fall into patterns you swore you'd break. Freedom isn't a feeling. Freedom is the result of choices made over time. Hard, deliberate, focused choices. Nobody is coming to hand you freedom. No one is waiting to save you. No miracle is arriving to lift the weight from your shoulders. It's you. It has always been you. Discipline is how you show up for yourself when the world expects you to fall. Discipline is how you build the foundation that holds up your future. Discipline is how you step into power when weakness feels easier. You don't need more time. You don't need permission. You need discipline today. So stop postponing. Stop hoping. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Only discipline makes freedom possible. Freedom comes with a cost. The cost is the hours you invest when no one is watching, the work you do when no one thanks you, the repetition you endure when the results are slow. It's lonely at times. It's uncomfortable at times. But so what? Do you want easy or do you want free? The man who chooses discipline chooses freedom. The man who rejects discipline accepts slavery. This is your choice. This is your path. The question is simple. Will you pay the price? You've accepted the truth. Freedom has a price, but accepting is just the beginning. Now comes the execution. This is where most people quit, where good intentions fall apart, where talk fades and habits collapse. Because execution isn't glamorous, it's not loud, it's quiet, cold, and often thankless. When you wake before the sun rises and force your body into motion, when you sit alone in your thoughts and refuse distraction, when you discipline your mind to stay on task while others chase novelty, that's where freedom is built. Freedom demands sacrifice, but sacrifice isn't punishment, it's investment. The time you give up for discipline returns as time you control. The comforts you deny yourself return as strength you command. The indulgences you refuse return as clarity you own. Without discipline, you are for sale. You are bought cheaply, by junk food, by scrolling, by comfort, by weakness disguised as pleasure. But when you practice discipline, you reclaim your value. You walk with intention. You act with purpose. You live according to a code you set, not a code society imposes. This is where freedom begins to feel different. It's not a feeling of rebellion, it's a feeling of ownership. You own your mornings, you own your energy, you own your results, you own your time. And with that ownership comes a profound peace. Peace that your life is not dictated by impulse, chaos, or chance. It's governed by you. You no longer live at the mercy of external noise. You build a fortress inside yourself, a fortress made of consistency, discipline, clarity, and standards. People will call you obsessed. They will say you're too rigid. They will question why you decline distractions, skip indulgence, and work when they rest. But they will not understand that this is freedom. Discipline is misunderstood because it feels restrictive at first. But what feels restrictive is the discipline cutting away all the chains you didn't even know you carried. The discipline to say no to wasted time gives you time for what matters. The discipline to say no to self-indulgence gives you self-respect. The discipline to endure discomfort gives you power to endure anything life throws at you. And all of this happens quietly, not in the spotlight, not on display for anyone's applause, but behind closed doors, early in the morning, late at night, when no one is watching. That's where freedom is truly forged. There is a clarity that emerges from discipline. The clarity that no one owns you. Not your cravings, not your distractions, not your laziness. And that clarity is rare. So rare that it will make you feel different from most. You will walk differently, think differently, decide differently. You will recognize the games most people are trapped in. The game of endless consumption, endless excuses, endless weakness, and you will refuse to play. This is where discipline becomes your ally, your teacher, your path. You stop needing permission to improve. You stop needing validation to work harder. You stop looking around for shortcuts. Discipline simplifies everything. Do the work. Keep your promises to yourself. Guard your time. Master your mind. This is the code of freedom, and it must be lived daily. People will look at your discipline and assume you're restricting yourself, but you will know the truth. They are restricted by every craving they obey, by every comfort they cling to, by every weakness they tolerate. You are free because you have chosen self-control. The true reward of discipline is that you no longer waste time doubting yourself. There's no decision fatigue because you've made the decision already. There's no chaos because you've created structure. There's no fear Because you've built resilience. When life tests you, and it will, discipline keeps you steady. When opportunities appear, discipline keeps you ready. When adversity strikes, discipline keeps you grounded. Freedom isn't living without rules. It's living by the right rules. The rules you chose, the standards you enforce, the principles you live by. And that freedom becomes visible when the noise of the world no longer pulls you off course. That's when you know you're free, because you built discipline into your core. Not because you escaped hardship, but because you embraced responsibility. Not because you avoided effort, but because you leaned into it. Not because you found some secret hack, but because you did what others avoided. You put in the work, consistently, deliberately, quietly, and daily. Discipline transforms ordinary days into extraordinary gains. It turns wasted time into mastery. It turns hesitation into action. And it turns you into a leader of yourself. Someone who doesn't just drift through life, but drives it forward with force. This is the cost. This is the reward. Discipline is freedom, earned, not given. The world wants you distracted. That's the trap everywhere around you. Endless noise, endless offers of comfort, entertainment, shortcuts. But you're starting to understand something deeper. Freedom is discipline. Discipline is freedom. It's not just a phrase. It's a reality that few will embrace. Freedom means your life is yours, not ruled by temptation, not dictated by emotions, not pulled apart by distractions, but it only becomes yours when you have the discipline to claim it and protect it. You protect your freedom when you master your mornings, rising early and taking control. You protect it when you discipline your mind, deciding what deserves your attention. You protect it when you choose discomfort willingly, training yourself to endure what most people avoid. This is the opposite of what most people do. Most people serve their impulses. They run from discomfort. They avoid work when it feels heavy. They chase convenience and end up trapped by it. But you're building something different. You're building yourself as someone no longer available for excuses. Discipline means you set a standard that doesn't drop based on how you feel. You don't negotiate with weakness. You don't let fleeting emotions dictate long-term outcomes. This is true strength, the ability to hold steady when everything around you invites you to drift. That's why discipline costs so much. It costs your excuses. It costs your laziness. It costs your need for constant comfort. But in return, you gain control, clarity, and ownership of yourself. You stop chasing permission to act because action becomes your habit. You stop needing people to understand your path because you understand it yourself. You stop craving approval because discipline becomes your validation. And that's where freedom begins to feel different. Not loud or chaotic, but quiet and solid. You no longer have to announce it. You simply live it. Each disciplined act becomes a brick in the foundation of your freedom. Each decision to hold your line strengthens your position. Freedom is a condition you create inside yourself, not something anyone else can give you or take from you. Look at your life. Where are you allowing chaos? Where are you tolerating weakness? Where are you compromising your standards? That's where your discipline must show up. And the beautiful part, you don't have to fix everything overnight. You build this slowly, deliberately, one decision at a time. Discipline favors consistency over intensity, commitment over occasional effort. The man who shows up daily, regardless of how he feels, is the man who becomes unshakable. Ask yourself, what would it look like to truly live free? Not free to indulge or waste time, but free to act on purpose, to lead yourself, to move forward without hesitation. That's the freedom discipline provides. You won't always see immediate results. You won't always feel progress happening fast enough, but discipline ensures that you are building something that lasts. And lasting freedom is worth every effort. There will be days when you don't feel like it. Do it anyway. There will be moments when no one notices. Do it anyway. There will be times when progress feels slow. Do it anyway. That's discipline doing what must be done, without delay, complaint, or compromise. And that's why discipline leads directly to freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from weakness. Freedom from distraction. The cost is high, but the reward is complete. The undisciplined man crumbles when life applies pressure. The disciplined man remains steady, capable, clear, because he owns himself. And owning yourself is the highest freedom of all. This isn't theory. This isn't a temporary feeling. It's a way of life. You don't have to wait for perfect conditions. Freedom begins when you impose discipline today. Every standard you raise tightens your grip on your future. Every weakness you eliminate strengthens your foundation. Every action you complete despite resistance builds your freedom. You're not building this for applause, you're building it for peace. A disciplined life creates space. Space for excellence, space for growth, space for meaning. That space becomes the soil where freedom thrives. The man who owns himself moves differently, thinks differently, lives differently. That's freedom. And it's waiting for you, if you're willing to pay the price. You know what it costs, you know what it takes, and you know that it's worth it. So stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop hoping for an easier way. Freedom is discipline, and discipline is your next step.